Now, Pakistan says it has credible intelligence that India is planning a military response to last month's attack that killed 26 people in Indian-administered Kashmir. India blames Pakistan for the killings, but Pakistan denies any involvement. Fears are growing of a military confrontation between the two nuclear-armed neighbours. Global superpowers, the United States and China, which has its own strategic rivalry with India, have urged both sides to de-escalate tensions.
After India linked last week's attack in Pahalgam in the Indian-administered Kashmir to its neighbour Pakistan, Delhi is under intense domestic pressure to carry out some sort of military action in Pakistan. Pakistan has vowed to counter such an attack.
We are absolutely ready, at high alert. If there is a violation of our airspace or there's violation on the ground, if we are engaged in any way on the seas, we are prepared to respond, and inshallah we'll give a befitting response to India.
After deadly attacks on Indian troops in Indian-administered Kashmir in 2016 and 2019, India hit Pakistan with cross-border strikes, blaming it for the assaults. Pakistan denied the accusations.
In the face of imminent danger, a preemptive strike became absolutely necessary.
Pakistan and India both claim the disputed region of Kashmir in its entirety. It has been at the heart of nearly every major conflict the two countries have had. These wars have killed thousands of people. Now, after the attack in Pahalgam, tensions are high once again between the two nuclear-armed nations. There are fears other regional players could be dragged into the conflict. China is a geopolitical rival of India. In 2020, at least 20 Indian and 4 Chinese soldiers were killed in the neighbours' first deadly military confrontation in decades. Ties have improved since then, but both sides keep massive troops in place, making Kashmir the world's most militarized zone. Beijing controls part of the Kashmir region that Delhi says belongs to India, but China is also one of Islamabad's main allies. It is hugely invested in the security of Pakistan. It helped advance its missile programs. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, a project of Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative, involves more than $60 billion investment in infrastructure, energy and trade. Thousands of Chinese work in Pakistan. The recent flare-up over Kashmir prompted China to issue this statement.
Both India and Pakistan are important countries in South Asia. Their harmonious coexistence is crucial to the peace, stability and development of the region. As a neighbour of both, China calls on both sides to exercise restraint, properly handle differences through dialogue and consultation, and jointly maintain regional peace and stability.
India, for its part, is strongly supported by the US, which has long sought to limit Beijing's rise in the Indo-Pacific region. This complex web of relations mean that a conflict between India and Pakistan is unlikely to stay strictly between them.
Well, for more on this, Chietigj Bajpaee is with the Asia-Pacific program at Chatham House think tank in London. And for the purpose of this conversation, it's important to note he is the author of the report, How China-India Relations Will Shape Asia and the Global Order. It's great to have you with us. China has historically maintained a nuanced stance on the Kashmir issue, often calling for peaceful resolution while simultaneously strengthening ties with Pakistan. How would you characterise Beijing's strategy here?
So I think, if we take a step back, China's goals in South Asia, or its relations with South Asia and the broader Indian Ocean region, can be seen as a microcosm of its broader engagement with the global South. And I think in that context, there are 3 foreign policy objectives: stabilizing its borders, securing trade routes along the Indian Ocean region, and as a market for its exports and investment. And I think Pakistan, as Beijing's long-time all-weather ally, or self-proclaimed all-weather ally, is important in terms of all 3 objectives. As we heard in your report right now, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which was launched in 2015, has really been a key manifestation of this. So I think that if we take a step back, those are, I think, the three broader objectives that China has in South Asia and the broader Indian Ocean region.
Chietigj, with those three objectives in mind, what then would be a good outcome for China in this conflict in Kashmir?
So I think officially, China has maintained a position of neutrality on the conflict. It's condemned the attacks. It's called on both sides to exercise restraint, resolve differences through dialogue and consultation. But in reality, I think China's position is clearly leaned in favor of Pakistan. It has referred to it as its ironclad friend. It says that China fully understands Pakistan's legitimate security concerns, and it's called for an impartial investigation into the attacks. And then placing this in a broader context, we see that over 80% of Pakistan's arms imports come from China. And there have also been reports that China is expediting the delivery of several defense platforms to Pakistan as it prepares for possible or perhaps likely conflict with India. And I think just to add to that China is also a party to the Kashmir dispute through its claim to Eastern Ladakh or Aksai Chin, where clashes took place with India in 2020, and a piece of territory in Kashmir was handed over by Pakistan to China in 1963. So in reality, China's position is far from neutral.
So given the growing strategic rivalry between India and China's deepening defence and infrastructure ties with Pakistan that you lay out, is it realistic in any way to expect China to play a role in de-escalating the situation here?
Well, I think that will depend to some degree on how the tensions evolve between India and Pakistan in the coming days, weeks, and months. So a military response by India appears likely based on the precedents set by its previous actions following terrorist attacks in 2016 and 2019 when it responded with so-called surgical strikes and then airstrikes. New Delhi, I think, will want to clearly control the escalation ladder and will want to ensure that any conflict stays below the threshold of a nuclear conflict. It will want to minimize civilian casualties or collateral damage. So as such, most likely we're going to probably see something in the form of a targeted or precision strike operations. But there is always the risk of an accidental escalation. And in that context, China would potentially play a more hands-on role if there are signs of a wider conflict leading, particularly if we see signs of it leading to the potential nuclear conflict.
Dr. Chietigj Bajpaee, Senior Research Fellow for the South Asia Program at Chatham House. It's been great to have you on. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.